Welcome back, everyone, to Turn to Page. Today, we are very late with this podcast, but you know what? As long as we get it out there, so it's fine. Today, we are going to talk about our final thoughts on the Jackson show. I don't know why that
Jackson.
Jackson show.
Jackson.
And the main topic is going to be the mystery guest, the sequel to The Maid. I'm David. With me as always.
Alexis.
I did that yesterday with Sergio,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm pointing at you. Introduce yourself."
Yeah, I agree with Sergio.
And I was like, "Fine, I tried something. I guess it doesn't work." But anyway, but yeah, um, yeah. Percy Jackson ended. When did it end? 2 weeks ago now. Three,
Oh
2, 3.
God, I think so. Oh, that's so long ago.
I know. But within that time,
Yes.
though, we might as well bring this up. Season 2 was finally announced. Thank God. It should have been announced, since
Long
episode
ago.
1, but that's all right, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I'm really glad it got renewed. Hopefully, this does mean that a lot of people are watching it, or at the very least, they realize, we probably got something good going on here or something. I don't know.
I think it did. I feel like I saw a lot of people talking about it, and I don't follow a lot of people
Mhm,
that were talking about it during the show. So when it got renewed, I did see quite a bit. So
mhm,
I mean, I don't know. It could just be like my social media,
mhm.
but
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I follow people who talk about the books. I follow a lot of people who just have podcasts mainly about the books. And so I got a lot of it from
yeah.
them. So I couldn't really tell myself. I mean, I'm not on Twitter also, but but I couldn't tell myself whether it was gaining popularity or not. I saw a few people who talk about movies and TV shows who are kind of like,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not hearing anything about it.
Mm.
So I'm kind of like,
I guess it just depends.
I guess it
But
just
I
depends.
think
Yeah.
it's like one of those things. I mean, obviously I wish that it would have gotten more hype when it was on, but
Hmm.
I feel like it's going to be one of those things, at least from like what we saw this season, um that the longer it goes on the more popular it gets. I hope.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Just cuz I feel like the quality was like really good.
hmm quality was really good and all that. And I mean, some people mentioned it too. It's like a studio. Harry Potter is kind of like the best example of this. Like the studios took a chance of like making these movies. Yeah, it got popular. Like, it made more money the more of them came out and all that. But they still kind of took a chance at like making
Yeah.
all of the movies for all the books and all that. So I just don't. I really don't get why Disney's not really like putting all their money in on this. So I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, my final thoughts on the show. I wrote down some notes actually when I was rewatching it. The first thing that came to my mind. I don't know. I don't think you'll find it that interesting, but like I just kind of like, oh hey, that's a neat thing that you put in. But Kronos during Percy's dreams, he's getting closer and closer to Percy. He's literally like miles away from him from the first dream. Then
Mhm.
by the end, he's literally at his doorstep, and I was like,
Mhm.
that's neat. Okay,
Mhm.
I like what you did there. Grover had a lot more funny jokes than than I realized. We were really missing out. The one that stood out to me the most, it was when they went to Medusa's house, and she's like, "Oh, hey, here, like, have anything you want," and all that. And Percy goes, "Is it safe?" And he's like, and Grover goes, "Honestly, I'm really hungry right now, so I can't really tell you." So he just goes up.
Same.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, we missed out on a lot of jokes during our reactions, so I'm glad I rewatched it. Best thing Annabeth's character arc, honestly. And you can also say Percy's too, but to me, I really like the way they ended her off. Basically, hers is just she tells Percy like, "You're more than just a kid." She sees herself as like a great warrior. She's literally people literally tell her she's like Athena's number one child and all that. So she sees herself more than just a kid. As the show went on, she doesn't care about the glory like praising her or getting praise from her mom and all that. And at the very end, she says, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go back to my dad. He's thinking about taking me to some place called Disney World." It's like, what is that? Like, I don't know what to do. Like, should I be worried about that? And Percy Luther says, "Just be a kid." And I'm like, that's her. That's right there. That's the ending right there. Her character arc. She's just trying to be a kid, while Percy's the opposite. He's
Mm-hmm.
realizing he's more than that. He, even though it's not his last line, but one of his last lines, he it was in Dionysus. There's so many names. Dionysus goes, "Wait, Percy? That's your name?" He's like, "Yeah." Nah, I think it's like, no, Percy Jackson. But it's not like, I don't know. I guess you could say he's not just like, oh, Percy Jackson, regular kid. It's like, no, he's saying it with confidence. There's more to it behind it. He's the son of Poseidon. He doesn't say that, but you can
Yeah.
tell that that's kind of what he's saying behind it.
He just gained more confidence.
More confidence for sure. Most of other people's thoughts about it. Their biggest complaint is that a lot of things from the books wasn't in the show, but mainly character stuff. The biggest thing is Annabeth. She really is a big nerd in architecture, and you don't really see that in the show at all.
Mm-hmm.
I get it from someone who likes the books myself, but when we were watching the show, I'm like, okay, no, whatever was needed for the plot.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I mentioned too, I think Annabeth's character arc is my favorite one. So like, whatever her character arc for this one, they added just enough for that, and
for her to be likable, for her to be interesting.
Yeah, to be interesting for sure. And I think and this does give it a chance for the other seasons to see more of her childish side, I guess you can say. By the end of it, she's more confident in like talking about architecture or something like that. Like she doesn't care about nerding out in front of Percy or Grover and all that. So I think there's definitely room for her if they keep it going. So but yeah, like I said, what they needed for the plot, what they needed like specifically for her character arc, they got it. So I'm happy with that. What's your favorite episode?
I think it's the Hephaestus one.
Hephaestus.
The one where they're on the love boat.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I forgot his name for some reason, or like who that character was. Dude, I was my bad. Really? Okay.
Yeah, I like that one. I feel like that one showed a lot of. That one I think is very character heavy, and I enjoyed watching them and what they struggled with, their strengths, what like getting just like inside of their head. I enjoyed that one a lot.
I think you and I talked the most on that one too, going a lot back and forth of like what each of them talked about specifically and all that. So that one was really fun. If you would have said the Aries episode, I would have been like, oh, I know what you mean, because Hephaestus only comes up for like 5 seconds. So I'm like, who's that? Sorry, but it's true. No, yeah, I remember I did like I wrote on my notes like that one does. From a writing perspective, it is like the best episode. Especially with Grover, because I remember, like I said, I mentioned I was very surprised that, oh, you're like playing mind games with the God of War, and that happens a lot in the books, but it always seems like far-fetched to me. And this one though, like it went over my head, and I'm like, oh, it can't be done. Like you can't. I get how you're tricking them now. Okay,
yeah,
that's interesting.
I do think that Grover got kind of the shorter end of the stick, which is fine. Like I get it. I appreciate the stuff that they did give us. I think the stuff that they gave us was really cool. But I feel like he's also such an interesting character that, especially like if you don't know that you're only gonna do one season or not, put him more up front, I think.
I mean, compared to compared to how he was in the book, they did a lot. So, and the second season, it really is. I mean, he's not gonna be. I mean, I would say maybe he's like 25% in the book and all that, but when you do see him, I think he may be Well, actually, I don't know. Since it's a show, it's no longer in Percy's perspective. Mary are gonna cut back and forth a lot between him and Percy and all that because they're not together. I'll say that now. They're not together in the second book. But when they do
Hmm.
come back together, I think they'll probably add a lot more to him. And then also actually second season, a lot more of Clarice. Um,
Yeah,
so I'm excited about that. I think
I know.
she had, I mean, what, 2 minutes really
Yeah,
for the
at
entire
max.
series. But like, I don't know. I remember I saw leaked footage of her line, revenge is, no, that's not it. Glory is great. Revenge is much better or something like that. Cheesy line, but she delivered it well. So
Hmm.
like, I think she's going to do pretty cool in the second season. So we shall
Yeah.
see. Uh, my favorite episode was St. Louis Arch. I just really like that monster. It looked really cool, and I was and rewatching it. I'm hearing like its roar and all that, and I'm like, whoa, how did they do that? It's like it was just really interesting. I like the design of it. Um, and yeah, it was neat. Also, just that ending, I just found it super fucking interesting because if people don't remember, he falls off the St. Louis Arch, lands in the water, and then Nared goes up to him and he's like, "You're like, your
Hmm.
father believes in you and all that. Just breathe and all that." And then he takes a breath, and I just really cool moment. And I like it though because again, he doesn't trust his dad at all. In this moment, this is a show of faith to him when he takes that breath. It shows like, not even though I wasn't there, doesn't seem like I'm helping much, but I gave you power. And so trust
Yeah.
in that. I really like that.
Shout out to the episode where Poseidon talks to Percy's mom
Yeah,
also, because
that was a great scene. Hmm.
that was so good.
For sure. And then yeah, and I just like what people kept mentioning too is that you know she makes an offering towards a god and all
Yeah.
that. But the thing though is that ice cream that like she burns, it wasn't even hers. It was just one that left in the side. So like it didn't have to be like a perfect offering for him to come, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, interesting.
Ah! I did see some
Mm,
interesting takes online that I was like,
see.
I'm so excited for
Mm,
like what's to come, and I can't wait to see. Watch, let me see if I can find a couple of the
mhm.
things.
Well, no,
A lot of people were talking about Luke and like the how they went about it and his character and his turn.
mhm,
Um, Myself included, people really liked that you could tell what he was doing was like physically hurting him too.
mm, mhm.
Like, not that he was regretting it, but that he was like, fuck, like this is gonna change everything. And
Yeah.
then not even that, like how they showed Annabeth's like reaction to everything and just like fuck, like
Mhm.
this is like hurting her too, you
Yeah.
know?
I'm really curious what they're gonna do about that for the other seasons because again, like I mentioned, you don't get a lot about his backstory until the final book, and so I'm curious if like, are we gonna get flashbacks of him, but is it mostly just gonna be like Annabeth's flashbacks or something of like when they hung out?
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know. Ooh, and then we're gonna get a casting announcement of Thalia, Talia. I say Thalia. I don't care. So yeah, so that's exciting. I was like, wait, should I not spoil it? I don't know. So, I was gonna mention something. Oh yeah, um, we'll see if we get a lot more of Luke's story in the later seasons, but that leads to my least favorite episode, which is the Lotus Casino, because they told so much about, or not so
I
much, but
heard that the writer for that episode left.
really,
So, we'll see how that goes cuz a lot of people didn't like that episode either.
yeah, it's kind of confusing. I don't know why. It was just like,
Yeah.
even like rewatching it, I was kind of like, I don't really care about this episode, so I kind of like ignored it, most of it. And yeah, I mean, it just, again, me personally, as a fan of the book. I just don't like that we got information about Luke's backstory. I really, really liked it when we got at the very end because like it really like hits you in the face like, oh my gosh, you're you're more than this is more than just you hating the gods in a sense, you know? And so yeah.
Yeah, and it kind of went nowhere
Hmm.
if you kind of really think about it.
Yeah.
Um, because they don't really mention it later
Hmm.
or at all after they talk about it for like 2 seconds.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah.
Yeah. Um but yeah. Then just a couple things to bring up. I saw the behind the scenes special that they made.
Oh, I did too.
I love that the cabins were like real. You, they literally built them. It wasn't all the volume and all that. But to talk about the volume though, fucking hey. It's like hit or miss with that thing. But like when it hits, it freaking hits. You know, because like if you look at the behind the scenes stuff, there's many moments where I'm kind of like, wait, they weren't in an actual building. Like what the
Yeah.
heck? Like the what was it, the Met or something? Um, that was all the volume, the like right behind them. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, I how could you not just not build the set? But okay, I mean, I get why because you're only gonna use it once, really.
Yeah.
So, but then again, miss the beach. That one was
Yeah.
rough, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe by then they're running out on the budget, and you can tell too because I noticed it too. But whenever Percy would take out his sword, you wouldn't see it transform. You just hear it,
Yeah.
and then he just like pop it up, and then that's
Mhm.
it. So, yeah, it was rough. But either way, though, it's still really cool. It can be useful sometimes, but I would say the beach scene though, just go to an actual beach. I think they were in
Yeah.
Vancouver.
They could have just done that.
Literally just go to the place where the CW always shoots their beach scenes whenever they go to whatever the island Green Arrow went or something. I don't know, but like just use that. It would have been perfectly fine.
Yeah. That was strange. There's
Mm,
literally you can go anywhere.
hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that costs money too,
Mm, I mean,
but I'm
I don't
sure
know.
it would be somehow cheaper though.
I think on location is a lot cheaper
Yeah.
than doing a CG background. So, and especially like when you have to build something on the set, you're buying all the extra materials. It's not
Yeah.
just the
I
CG.
mean, I
You're buying the
get
materials.
they
You're
maybe did it because of like when they had to use like the water and stuff, but that didn't happen all the time.
Yeah, and I mean either way though,
So,
you're gonna use CG for that. So like I don't know. I mean I don't know. I I don't know the budgeting of this kind of things, but like I got a feeling that just going on location is a lot cheaper, and especially like if you're gonna reuse it, like reuse it as many times as you can and all
yeah.
that. So just kind of be selective and all that. Favorite thing, all the parents talking about the kids,
Oh, I
especially Walker's dad,
cried.
especially
I
Walker's dad. Oh my god,
cried.
they were just literally every single one of them is just like proud of them that they're just
Ah!
following their dreams.
And I we were talking about it earlier how like in any cuz we watch all like the behind the scenes stuff in that they do on Disney Plus. And granted like there hasn't been a lot with like kids or whatever, but you never get to see the parents on these type
Mm-hmm.
of things. And it's interesting to see like their perspective on it as well cuz like I'm sure you know you hear about all the Holly weird stuff like I'm sure, when your kid tells you I mean, if you're, like, a decent parent, when your kid tells you, "Hey, I wanna do this,"
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you're gonna be very hesitant,
Oh yeah.
and then when they actually do make it, it's like, "Whoa." So, it was really cool to see them talking about them and kind of their experience with the whole thing and talk about them with at least from what we saw, I think, with so much like care and stuff
Mm-hmm.
and seeing how involved they were, which is nice to see
Yeah.
these types of things. I really liked that. And I also loved obviously I loved the Lin Manuel section because they kept mentioning Hamilton. But I loved Uh, the actress that plays the mom.
Yeah, yeah.
Ugh,
She talked
that killed
about
me.
her nephew saying like, it's like she told him, "Oh yeah, I've been auditioning for a role," and it's like Percy Jackson, and he's just like, "You're gonna be in
What
it?
the heck?
What?" So
It
yeah.
reminded me, but like much sweeter because she started crying about it,
Hmm.
which made me cry. But it reminded me of when I can't remember which one it was, but I want to say it was the second person that played Dumbledore. I'm so sorry, I forgot his name,
No,
his actual name. Gambit. Nope, that's not his name. That's not his last
I'm
name.
not gonna.
I'm sorry, I forgot. But anyways, um, his granddaughter or grandson, like one of his grandkids, threatened to not talk to him ever again if he didn't take the role of Dumbledore. um, which is always funny to hear.
Hmm. He did great. Okay,
He did great.
it's cool. That's nice. But yeah. I mean, everything else was just really, really cool. Some of the sets, really, just the sets that looked really, really cool. Um, fucking Walker putting in effort doing all the underwater stuff. I did
I
not. I really
know.
didn't think he did that much in training
No, yeah,
for it.
he I heard some podcasts that he came out on as well, and he was talking about it and
Hmm.
um how he did all of that. He would be in the water for like 13 plus hours, like
Hmm.
insane, crazy.
Hmm.
And it was like cuz they did all of the underwater stuff in like one day.
Hmm.
So that's why he stayed
They
in
say
the
that.
water for so long.
Yeah,
Um so yeah. It
it's
was
really
also
impressive.
cool. They talked about the Love Boat scene
Mm.
and they showed when they jumped into the water.
Yeah, yeah, they were like really nervous about it because if they don't get it right on the first take, then they're gonna have to wait till they dry off, and then it's gonna take hours and all that. But it was nice though that the I guess stunt coordinator, I don't know who it was exactly, might have been stunt coordinator, might have been director, maybe. Basically, she was the one telling him like, it's okay if you don't get it right,
Yeah.
we'll just wait, you know. But they got it right on the first try, so
Yeah.
they were.
It's cool to see how because I feel like the only other time we really got that, and I mean, we could only say so much because we only saw so much or they let us in so much,
Hmm.
was during the Harry Potter stuff that, um, everybody was fully supportive of them being kids while they were kids. And,
Hmm.
you know, um, they knew, like, even though that like yes they were there to do a job and they had to be professional, they understood that they were still kids
Hmm.
in the end, and that's how this felt.
Yeah, for sure.
um and again, I'm hoping that that is the case
Hmm.
because you just never know.
Yeah.
But it kind of does feel that way.
Hmm. And it's also just nice because I watch a lot of behind the scenes stuff with all the other Marvel shows and everything. This one was just different. This one was like
Hmm.
really fun. This one,
Yeah.
like, it really felt passionate of what
Yeah.
they were doing. While the other ones, I like how the actors getting their thoughts about certain scenes and all that. But it just feels like by the books. I don't know if that makes any
Yeah.
sense. Like it just kind of feels
Hmm.
like it's all procedural.
Even though it's not supposed to be scripted, it felt scripted, or it feels scripted. Whereas
Yeah.
this one, it's just like, oh yeah,
Hmm.
like we did this. And then I also found out that he took a lot of the props.
Yeah. It's just like I'm taking this.
He kept like
The
posting
sword.
pictures about like the stuff that he took.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you?
I
Honestly, I would
know.
too. Like, I don't care. Also, my favorite bit. I don't know why it was hilarious, but Walker and the guy who played Luke, um, at one point they were like, "Dude, most of our time was on set was just us trying to do the I don't know what's it called, like some kind of clap."
Oh, the clap
Yeah,
noise.
clap noise. They actually like start doing it in front of the camera, like Walker, oh hey, what's up? And then they do it, and they got like the perfect sound and everything. I just found it hilarious because like
Yeah.
that's the
Uh
moment
huh.
we're talking about. It's like they're just being kids and all that. It's really great.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what's to come.
Yes, and more behind the scenes stuff, please. Every season, I want to see the boats. To
Oh yeah.
see that one, oh, that's gonna be my worry though for second season is they're definitely gonna use the volume for out in the ocean stuff. Let's see how it's gonna look. There's a bit more underwater stuff for Walker for him to do. Hmm. That's gonna be, yeah. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it'll be better by this time. Who knows? At least like the background of it. Maybe they'll know how to light it better. So we'll see. And what else for second season? I can't wait for Tyson. That's gonna be people's second favorite character probably. It's gonna be a tie between him and, I forgot his name. Nico.
uh,
So yeah, we'll see. And anything else about the show itself that I didn't bring up?
no,
Hmm.
I think that's it.
Yeah. So the mystery guess. Well, yeah, we read the first one, The Maid. We really enjoyed it. We really liked the main character. So we were pretty excited about this one. Just get to know more about her and all that. This one, mystery guess, I liked it a lot more.
I did too.
Yes, I really liked that.
You were taking a while to read it, and I was like, "Come on,
like hurry up!"
so good.
I know. No, yeah, and I mean same thing as I said in the first one. Like I was listening to the audiobook, but like every single second of it like grabbed my attention. I really liked it. And there was more of a mystery to this. It really was like, who did this actually?
Yeah,
like, what's going
it
on
was
here?
more like, more suspicious.
More suspicious, more investigative, for sure. So yeah. I mean, I don't know what else to say without going into spoilers, but
Yeah,
uh,
I enjoyed it. I actually am curious to see what you thought about the ending because I really like the ending in the last one. Um, and I don't know about the ending in this one. I didn't hate it. I didn't like not like it, but yeah, I can't really say much.
I had problems with the ending, but not that it ruined it or anything like
Yeah.
that. I was just kind of like,
Oh.
can we? It felt a little bit off some moments, and there's one part just felt like it came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but yeah, we'll get to it. But yeah, what happened in the story? There was a murder.
Of course.
Okay, no. So yeah, we basically catch up with her. She is head maid. She's hired some new people. Actually, I'm not gonna remember the names of the new characters at all. I tried looking them up online, but like literally every single website I'm looking at, it's only talking about the first one, and I'm like, "Are you serious? I need the second one, people." So, and I couldn't and listen to the audiobook. We didn't have the book, so I couldn't look it up and like see what the characters' names are. So, yeah, that's on me. But basically, there was a new maid. The new maid is very, very shy. Doesn't really stand up to herself.
Basically another
Molly.
Mm-hmm.
New character, this woman who's now tending the bar, which it was the there's a name for people like that working a bar.
Bartender.
Yeah, I could have sworn. I did not know it had the word bar in it. I thought I could have sworn it was just a one word thing. Not bad.
Okay.
Bar person.
Bartender.
No, I know. I was like, that's literally what I was thinking. Just like bar person. That's not it, but whatever. Anyway, yeah, new bartender, because it was the last bartender that was evil, right? Wasn't it?
Evil, yes.
He was the villain. Okay.
Yeah, the mastermind.
Mastermind.
But yes, new bartender.
Yeah. So yeah, they had to get a new one, and this person, I found her pretty funny. She was just chaotic.
Yeah,
in the
I
best
like
way.
her a lot because she, you know, Molly had that friend from the last book where she was like the wife of the person that got murdered.
Mm-hmm.
But with this one, she's like a genuine friend. And like she may be crazy and Molly does sometimes think like, bruh, chill.
Mm-hmm.
But you could tell that she like just cares about her and she, you know,
yeah,
she'll do anything to protect her as well.
Mm-hmm. The last friend in the first one was kindly. This one's just more chaotic. basically.
Yes.
For
Yeah.
sure. And actually, I was thinking about this. So the bartender friend, sh- she keeps bringing up that she listens to a lot of crime like
Like,
shows or
yeah, crime shows. Like, she's really into like what? There's a word for this too.
yes.
Um,
Okay, I don't struggle with it either. Okay,
like
true
mis-
crime.
true crime, like podcast listening,
Okay,
books, like anything like that.
okay. I don't know why I struggle with this, like with both books, but like, does it ever feel like it actually takes place in today's time for
Oh,
you?
I couldn't figure out because the accents are
Yeah,
they? Where are they?
yeah. Especially because the detective, the grand for sure. She gets in the audiobook. She is voiced as like a British accent,
Hmm.
and some of the other people who she
And the
works with,
bartender is also like a,
she's
what
more
is it? Like a,
Irish, or at least
oh,
maybe
I was gonna say like,
I could be
what
wrong.
is it? Cockney accent?
Yeah, something. Okay, it could have been that. My bad. But yeah, but then no, but then the detective though, she sounds like she could be from Brooklyn or something.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure
And
exactly.
Molly is normal.
Yeah,
I mean, well, not normal. She's
American at least,
American.
which is
Sorry.
weird because if she, which is weird because if she grew up with Grant, who has a British accent, she should have an accent of her own too. I mean,
Yeah. It was just weird. Like, I couldn't figure out where they were, which I mean,
yeah,
it doesn't matter, but and it could literally be anywhere.
yeah.
But I was like in my head, I was like, where are they?
Yeah, and I don't know why even I got confused with the times. I don't know because like
Yeah,
I don't think Molly has a cell phone.
she has a cell phone.
She does. Okay, I could
They
have
were
sworn.
texting.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Okay, the text, whatever. Because I don't know. I could have sworn she just uses a telephone to talk to everyone and all that. Especially because like in the first book, yeah, she
No.
would use a
Do you
telephone.
not remember their texts are very like she can't figure out some of the acronyms, or she does acronyms for everything.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, I don't know why. It just like struggled for me. I just
Yeah, it like
overlooked
the
those, I guess.
time and place and
Place.
everything is like a mystery unto itself, I
Mm-hmm.
guess. Keeping on theme, on
Yeah.
brand.
Which I hope for the movie though they try to do that, like try to make it seem like you don't know what time it takes place on. So
Hmm.
that'd be kind of cool. But sorry. Um, who other? Oh, and then we meet these like three ladies who were like big fans of
You
this
didn't
author.
say who got murdered or anything.
I know, I was getting to it. Okay,
Okay.
to her, yeah, three ladies who were big fans of of an author. The author was the mystery guest, right? Yeah, who who was going to make some big announcement about his next book, and he was going
Or
to do it.
just an announcement in general. Because we don't really
Yeah,
know what it was.
true. Yeah, okay, yeah, I remember now. It was just like a announcement about something. Who knows? Could have been his retirement. Could have been another book. Who knows? He was going to do it at the hotel. They built this new area where they were hoping to get people in and all that, blah blah blah. And right before he was going to make his announcement, just drops dead. And so, yeah, that's where the whole thing kicks off. And the investigation goes on, and Detective Stark shows up, and right away she's suspecting Molly, which I was
Hmm.
like, why?
Come on, dude.
Yeah, like
I mean, I guess I get
no.
it.
Well, I mean, I understand, like open investigation. It could be anyone, but it's like you were really wrong about her the first time. You couldn't have
Yeah.
just like you
But
could
like
have.
I'm not saying I like agree with her. I'm just saying like, okay, this is the second time in like not even like what, a year or
Mhm.
two, that something happens and you're kind of there again. Interesting. So like I get that, but
I
I'm also like, don't come after her. I'll come after you.
well, I mean, my thing though is like I can understand being annoyed that she's like directly tied to
Yeah.
the murder again. Like I wouldn't mind if like she went up to her, questioned her, and she's just like, Molly, do you not see how this looks like? Like
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is happening again. So like I really need you to tell me now, like something that doesn't prove that you're the murderer
Yeah.
here. Come
Uh-huh.
on, like at least give her like a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. I don't know. So anyway, uh, so yeah, as that was happening, basically there was nothing going. They weren't getting a lot of evidence within the murder area and all that. Everything was just gone. The things that he was drinking out of, all of his like other materials that were there and everything, they had zero evidence. All they had to go off of was that Molly was the closest one. Her and the new maid were
Yeah.
like the closest
They
people.
had the tea.
Mm-hmm.
The tea. The tea that he was drinking from, they did have that. And they found something in it.
No.
Yes.
Was there?
Yes. They found something in it. And the person who was assigned to kind of tend to his needs was the new maid Molly was training.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like another reason as to why the officer was like, bruh, it's you. And I felt so bad for her. She was having a full-blown panic attack and like, which, understandable, and she right away knew, like, because it happened right after he drank the tea. And so she right away was like, they always one of the things that Molly tells her all the time is they always blame the maid. And so that, her hearing that all the time, she immediately was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
They're coming after me.
Yeah. But Molly stands up for her.
Yes.
Mr. Stark. I'm thinking Tony Stark here. Detective Stark. Detective Stark goes after the new maid.
Sorry, there's a fly.
And Molly's immediately like getting flashbacks from them when she was first questioned and all that in the first book. And she just goes, whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, like, I trust her. Go easy on her. You got zero evidence here. Like, calm the fuck down. So, yeah. And so, yeah, basically we just kind of she kind of goes about the rest of her day. One thing to bring up, Manuel, was that the boyfriend's name?
Yes.
He's gone.
Still together.
They're still together, but he's gone for the rest of his book.
Sorry. There's like a giant fly, and I don't know where it's going.
I mean, it's just a fly.
But it's like here.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, Manuel. Yeah, they are still together, still living together too. But during the book, he is off to Mexico. Is that where he's from? Mexico? Goes back to his family, where where he's originally from. And it sucks that he's gone, not just because he's gone, but because both him
Molly's
and
like going through all of this, and he has he became like her emotional support person. Not that she relies on him for everything, but like he's like her calm, basically. Like,
yeah.
And she has a routine, and she was already nervous about him leaving because the routine's gonna change for a bit.
Well, she was supposed to go with him.
Yes.
Yeah, because they saved up enough money to go together and all that. But then this whole big thing with the author was coming up, and I think her boss was just like, "I really gonna need you for this. Please stay," and all that. And she was gonna get like extra money for it and all that. So she suggested to stay and Manuel go because he misses his family. So yeah, that happened. And I gotta be honest, it was too lovey-dovey for me in the beginning. For them two together, it was just a little bit too much.
Whatever. Hater.
You know what? I'm just not in the mood. Okay, it's Valentine's Day, and like,
okay. No, I loved it. I loved how, like, she just like says things that he does for her, and she's just like, yeah, like it's just like how it is. And he's so nice to her, and they care about each other so much,
For sure.
and it's so cute.
Okay. Now, before we get to the rest of the investigation, I just want to bring up like the whole flashback stuff because that takes up like half the book,
Oh yeah.
and it is kind of important. For one
Uh,
thing,
yeah, it is.
Molly. I mean, I don't know. Just to me, it didn't feel like it was important to the investigation. It was just sort of
Yeah, it was just kind of important
her
to.
character, which
Yeah.
I mean, if you find that really important, yeah, cool. But like to me, if it's about the investigation, it's not really that important. But I still like the flashbacks. I should say that
Yeah,
I like
yeah,
the
yeah.
flashbacks. I love them. But we find out Molly knew the author, like personally, literally met him before when she was a kid. Actually, how old was she in those flashbacks? Was she like 12 or less, or almost teenager?
She was little.
Okay, little. Okay,
Um, Maybe between like 8 and 12.
okay.
I want to say.
I thought so too, but I couldn't be too sure. But yeah, we get flashbacks of her, and the first one was her in school. Her grand was talking to the principal, and the principal was like, your daughter is exceeding really well in her grades. She's very, very smart, but we want to hold her back because she's not." Um,
Socially, she's not reaching the level that she should be.
those were exact words, and you said it so much better than I would have said it. But yeah, which to me, I was like, the fuck?
Yeah,
That's so dumb. Sorry,
they
but
did this on Gilmore Girls.
really?
Yeah, they had her hang out with like, or they told her to hang out with like new people because she was just by herself, like listening to her music,
Mm.
reading her book all the time. And so she randomly sat at a table and became friends with these girls, and they turned out to be part of this like sorority type of thing. And they broke into the principal's office and they got caught. And she finally was like, bruh, like you told me to hang out with people. I sat down at this table. This is what happened. This is your fault. And the principal was like, all right.
That's funny. Wow. Dang. Gilmore Girls. Crazy show.
This, yeah.
But yeah. And then the grand, as calmly as she could, was basically being like, the fuck? um,
Yeah.
and she basically pulls her out of the school. It's like, okay, since you gotta hold her back anyway, I'm just like gonna take her home and not bring her back here. Like, the fuck?
Yeah.
So, um, at that time, the grand wasn't working at the hotel or anything. She was working with.
The grandma never worked at the hotel.
She did it. Oh, okay.
No.
She just. Oh, my bad. So then, either way, the grand was the maid for the author. She would clean the house and all that, mainly under the author's wife's like watch. Um, and so when they pull Molly out of school, she asks the wife, "Can I bring my kid here?" And the wife is just hates kids in general.
She's
So
just a hater
yeah,
in general towards
hmm
anybody.
yeah, really. Uh, and so, but the wife really, really trusted her. We find out how much later on.
Yeah.
Um, and so she was just like, okay, fine, the kid can be here, but I like ground rules basically like do nothing. So
Yeah.
keep out of my sight and all that. And Molly screws that up first day, really.
Yeah. They
Um,
had her polish stuff.
and she polished some
Old
fancy
thing that did not need to be polished.
didn't need to be polished. I think she might have like broken it, made it like less valuable because she cleaned it and touched it, and immediately wanted to get her out. The wife wanted to get her out, but Gran was just like, let's just work something out here. Like maybe she can work for the damage she's done and all that. It's like that's gonna take years, but whatever. Molly was excited though because she was just like, I get to clean
Yeah.
as punishment. Are you kidding me? So yeah, she does that. She's enjoying it. She's enjoying her life. And she finds out that they have like this big library that she wants to like see because she does like reading and all that. And eventually they make a deal again saying like while you clean, you take an hour of your time to read books. She does that, which led to the author. There was some secret entrance to the fucking in the library, and she she's the author. At first, she thought she was some kind of troll. It's just funny, kid stuff, you know.
Every time they screamed, it would like scare me.
Yeah, I remember I was listening to it while driving. You were like sleep right next to me, and like the screams kept happening. I'm just like, ooh, like falling down, falling up, falling down, and all that. That was funny. Well, somehow you didn't hear it, but cool.
I did not.
We knock out in the car, man. But yeah, that's when she finally meets the author, and he's just like, "Who are you?" And I mean, actually like their interaction a lot.
I did too.
It just seemed kind of like, I don't know how to say it, like,
He wasn't like annoyed like how the wife was, but he was
mhm.
just kind of like, "What the fuck are you doing here?"
Yeah,
Um, and she was like scared.
yeah, scared, but he also like seemed interested in her. Like he was kind of like, "Ah, kid, you seem cool. Let me pick your brain a bit or something like that,"
Uh-huh.
because he was kind of having writer's block or whatever. But yeah, I really like their interactions the most. So that was really nice. The wife annoyed me. She's just mean. I don't like
Yeah,
it.
she was really mean.
Yeah. Um.
And it felt like she wasn't even the wife. It felt like she was like head maid or something. You know what I mean? That's how I picture it. Uh like an old show, and she was head maid, and
Hmm.
she wore like shirts all the way up here with like a little bun.
Yeah.
That's how I pictured her.
Okay. Yeah. No, I get what you mean. Like, it didn't really feel like they were husband and wife in that moment. It was just more so like, honestly, it just almost felt like she was like, sh- the author
Her
was her.
caretaker. His caretaker.
I was gonna say the author was like more like her slave or something. Like the author was a slave to the
To
wife.
her.
Or, yeah, because
Yeah.
he's just in the corner writing, and she's just like, no, like he's just supposed to write, and all that because he's a genius. Even though like,
Yeah.
you know, she does see him as a genius and all, but it's like that's all she really cares about is just for him to write and all that. I mean, I don't blame her in a sense because what they show is that he had like the author had like an addiction to alcohol. Was it the alcohol or is it just
I
was
think it
it
was alcohol, drugs. He was
maybe
just an
drugs?
addict in
Yeah,
general.
he was an addict and all that led him to do stupid things, and this is partly why they trust Gran so much because she was there at the worst of it, and she was there when he was getting clean. Uh, the author trusted her too much, cared about it too
That was
much.
something that I was not a big fan of because it kind of just came out of nowhere.
A lot of things came out of nowhere.
That's true. But I felt like that one came out of nowhere and nothing really happened after.
Well, because of Molly.
No, that's not what I meant. I mean, like, was this constant?
Okay.
Like if this is something that happened a lot, like I could not picture Gran like just staying there and going through all of this.
Sure.
But I and sorry, I don't think we said what happened. So basically, the author, or Molly saw the author kind of getting close to Gran, um, and not in a good way, like in a creepy guy way.
Hmm.
And Molly like came in right in time, and like he like backed off, and yeah, it
Hmm.
was just like awkward, bad situation.
Yeah.
Um, and like I guess it makes sense to where like why the doorman didn't like him.
Hmm.
Um, but I just felt like nothing really happened because of it,
Hmm.
and it was kind of unnecessary. At least that's how I felt. So I didn't really like that scene.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this also what I mentioned too is like I feel like this flashback wasn't really necessary for the investigation in a
Yeah.
sense. I mean, she does use her background to kind of piece some stuff together, but at least not for the murder. At least I'll say that. We'll get to it because there was actually like, there's more than just
Yeah.
a murder to this. So
Because I guess like the only time that it comes back up kind of is the doorman does bring it up to Molly saying like did your grandma ever talk to you about him, or like things that he did, and she was just kind of like, no.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I guess that's like more for us to understand that like this is not a good person,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like you could have done it in a different way. I don't know. It just felt like it was a lot.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Um, but also part of the reason why it didn't lead to much is because when Molly saw that, she was like, "Nah, never again." And so she deliberately got herself into trouble so that the wife would be mad enough to kick them both out, and it worked. um, Basically, I can't remember what she did. I think she literally just straight up broke the thing that she first cleaned that got her into like in trouble. No, she was going to steal it, and got caught. And then when Graham was just like, "Why would you steal that?" And she's like, "I don't know," but really she just did it on purpose so that she would
Mhm.
get caught and the wife would kick them out. Um, Later on, Molly goes in present time. Molly goes back to the house, and we see that they never hired another maid after that because like the whole place was just
Bad.
dirty. So I think that was actually a neat thing. I guess that like she just never trusted someone else after her and never wanted anyone else. So there was some loyalty, I guess you can say, within that.
From the
Uh,
wife.
from the wife, yeah. um, so yeah, it was neat. I just mostly liked Molly, little girl Molly's perspective of everything that was happening and all that, and it was kind of like it almost keeps you on edge of like, oh my gosh, how you're missing so much, and not just because she's in the spectrum and all that. She's just a kid, so she's not like understanding anything that's
Yeah.
happening around her, especially the scene where she saw her mom.
Oh my god, that scene
That
broke me.
my god, so that whole scene basically. Grant, what was Grant doing? I think she might have been doing laundry or something.
Yeah, she was doing laundry.
Mm-hmm. And
She Oh man, that scene
yeah.
was
So Grant was doing laundry. Molly was at home. I think this might have been maybe like the first day after she started cleaning the house. Molly started cleaning the house, and there's a knock on the door. Someone going like, "Hey, I know Grant. Like, I've been here before and all blah blah blah." And she's like, "Prove it." It's like, "Well, there's this in the house, this in the house, and this in the house." She's like, "All right, I trust you." Opens the door.
But before Gran left, she had told Molly that the landlord was gonna stop by to get the rent money.
Mm-hmm. And she
And
left it on
we
the table.
know, yes, she left it on the table and she was only supposed to answer to him.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, she was really small. So
Really.
I feel like it was maybe less than 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and which they also like worked really hard to get
Mm-hmm.
because they weren't, yeah. I forgot where I was going with this.
Basically, yeah, the dorm landlord was supposed to pick up the money. You mentioned that she wasn't supposed to answer the door to anyone else other than the landlord.
Oh, I
But
remember. From previous books and previous mentions of the mom, we know that the mom left with some guy. I don't believe it was Molly's dad. Um, and they just say she's a bad egg. Um, they don't really get into specifics as to what the mom was doing, but I assume not fun stuff, not good stuff. Um, so yeah.
yeah, so she comes in. She's mentioning like, "Oh man, nothing's changed here and all that." Blah blah. Molly's not really piecing it
She doesn't
together.
know who this person
It
is.
even took me a while, honestly. Like I should have.
No,
I mean,
yeah.
in the beginning, I was kind of like, I wonder who this person is, and then I'm slowly like, oh my god, it's her
Oh
mom.
no.
She doesn't know that it's her mom. What the fuck? And all that. And like this, oh my gosh, I got shit to say about this about Molly's mom. Um, yeah, basically, she's just kind of like a part of her actually wants to stay. She does miss her grand. Her mom, the grand,
Mhm.
misses home because I think she even mentions that like something. There was a line specifically where she literally says home, like she misses home. Um, But I think the more she stayed there, the more she was being hesitant about it, and she just kind of ups and leaves. Oh my gosh! And then Molly's mind, she was just like, "Oh my gosh, my first guest. I don't know what to do here.
Oh
Would you like tea?" Like
yeah.
she's treating, dude. If they make the second one of this in this scene, it's gonna break my fucking heart. Oh my god,
Cause she's like, okay, like grandma taught me,
how to be
you know,
nice.
like how to like I need to be a host. This is a guest in our house. Like, you know, she's like, do you want this? Do you want that? Like, oh.
And there's one thing that bothers me is like I've seen like tons and tons of shows, and whenever a parent like well, I wouldn't say loses their child exactly, but like gets raised by someone else or something like that, and every single time the person says like, or when they see their kid and the kid doesn't acknowledge them, it breaks their heart and all that because they're just like, imagine seeing your kid not knowing who you are and blah blah blah. It's like not even knowing that you ever existed and all that blah blah. Well, I just don't think Molly's mom was even thinking of that. She was just kind of there with her. Didn't even, I don't even think the mom even acknowledged that like that is her daughter. I
Mhm.
don't think there was even
Like
a
she
moment.
didn't really say much to her.
Mm-hmm.
She was just kind of talking about in general, like,
Yeah.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I know what you mean.
And
That
so
like it just felt like
yeah.
a random person showing up.
Mm-hmm. Which I feel like I don't know. I think if present Molly really thinking back on this, maybe there. I would say this little Molly wasn't really paying attention to like what her mom was doing in that. Like, was not paying attention to her facial expressions or anything like that. But I think present Molly, if she was really looking back on that, she would have probably noticed that maybe her mom was looking at her like in a weird way, in a
Mhm.
way of like, please acknowledge me or something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't think she did. And so that just like that bothers me because it's like, how dare you? That is your daughter.
Yeah.
She's so nice. Um, and so Molly's mom up and leaves at some point. She's just like, no, actually, no, I can't say I should go. And she asks her like, "What do you want me to? Do you want me to say anything to Gran?" And she's just like, that she's doing a great job, basically. And she leaves. Gran comes back down, and Molly is like slowly telling her like, "Oh yeah, this lady came in. She said she knew you and all that, blah blah blah." And Gran's piecing it together about the same pace as we were going. Like,
Oh shit.
wait a minute. And then she sees the table and the money is gone for the landlord, and she says, "Did the landlord ever come by?" He's like, "No." She sees that the money is gone,
Fuck.
and Gran knew who it was, and she just I feel like she probably could have ran after her. Maybe. I don't know how much time had passed
Yeah.
between that, but I don't know. I hope it wasn't like right after that. I would have been like, run, tackle her down. I don't care. But yeah. And then as soon as she pieces together who it was and that the money was gone, guess who fucking shows up now? And it's the landlord.
A
And so
fucking landlord.
she has to tell him, hey, we just got
I'm
robbed.
sorry.
Luckily it did work out. She went to the doorman. This was before she got fired, but like she went to the doorman, the one that was guarding the author's house, and she was like, "Can I get a loan?" And he said yes, and yeah, all done. The doorman in the house was the doorman from the hotel, the guy
Mhm.
who oh I forgot to mention, um yeah, the guy who helped her out in the first book. And I forgot to mention that they still have their Sunday dinners. And she was like, hey, just because my nail's gone and your daughter's gone, like, we can still have our dinners and all that. So that was really nice. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah. So that was the whole background. It was really, again, really nice seeing like little Molly, her mind, how her mind worked and everything. And just, it's kind of
How
cool.
seeing like how her grandma taught her things and like how to basically have her get comfortable with the world around her
Mm-hmm.
and navigate through it um to like where we see her now
Mm-hmm.
thriving and
Thriving
living.
and literally solved the case.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Um, oh man. Okay. What else? On my notes, I put, "Damn, that flashback of Molly and her mother."
Yeah, it was intense. It
Mhm,
just you just feel so bad because Molly does piece it together, and she's like, I mean, she doesn't say this, but basically is like, "Fuck, that was
mhm.
my mom, wasn't it?" And the grandma just starts breaking down.
Wait,
Um,
did she realize it was her mom?
yes.
Oh, my bad.
No?
I don't think so.
Oh, I thought she did.
Because I mean, I feel like the way that she was talking about it, it wasn't like she never even like thought that that was her mom.
Oh, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong.
Hmm.
Maybe it was me. No, yeah, you're right. I think it was just kind of like, why is she like reacting this way? Like,
Hmm.
we'll get the money back. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, that scene. I think that one for me that one was like the most important flashback. But like
Hmm.
it also just kind of didn't really do anything either.
Yeah.
But it was like it was cool to see or to listen to.
Listen to.
Um, and then so yeah, I think for the flashbacks that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that is it. So, there were. Okay, I remember now. So Molly was trying to like stay out of the investigation as much as she could. She wanted like to let Detective Stark work on her own,
Yeah.
but the
Cause
fucking.
and the reason being was because she had direct ties to the author and she didn't want to get blamed for it
Hmm.
because of that. But it also led to like her kind of lying about it and being like, "Nope, I've never met this man."
Hmm.
Um,
But the bartender had other ideas. She was like straight up, "We're investigating this. This is our hotel." No, I was kidding. She didn't say that, but she might. That would have been funny actually. She said that. She's like, "This is our hotel. We protect it," or something like that.
yeah.
And one of the things she did was she told the three fan ladies of the author that Molly was a undercover detective, and this has actually led to like the funniest scene. Honestly, she told the fans that she was an undercover detective, and when Molly went up to them talk about like what they've seen and all that, they're like, "Yes, the fans go, "Yes, detective, we'll tell you what you need." And she's just like, "I'm not a detective." Sure, a
Uh-huh.
wink or something like that. Um, and so I can't remember. I actually don't remember what they kind of heard. I just know. I think.
They were basically just saying things that they knew about the author,
Hmm.
what they speculated, like what was going on,
Yeah.
like his announcement. They were like, we don't really
Hmm.
know what he was about to say, but it could be this, or this.
Hmm. And
They kind of just went to them for to kind of
get.
know him a little bit more.
Hmm.
Um,
What's been going on with him recently, because we know what happened to him
yeah.
before, but we don't know what happened to him recently.
Hmm.
And one of the fans was actually writing an autobiography for him, and she was trying to get in touch with him, being like, "Hey, let me publish this, please."
Hmm.
Um, so that whole happened, and at one point, only two of them were there, and they straight up like were blaming the friend that wasn't there at the moment. I don't remember, but like it was just
Yeah.
two of them, and they were straight up like it was her, like
Yeah.
because she's done crazy
Hey,
shit before.
salt.
Yeah, which I was like, that's kind of fucked up. What the hell? I thought she's like
Yeah.
your best friend. Okay. Um, but because of her impersonating a detective, she went straight to Detective Stark and was like, "I have to make a confession," and she's like,
I
"All
have to
right."
turn myself in.
I have to turn myself in, yes.
And of
And
course, the detective was like, I knew it.
yes, she straight up thought that she committed the murder, but then as she kept saying like, I done a bad thing. I should have never done this in the beginning." She's just like, "Okay, spit it out. Like you murdered him, right?" She's like, "What? No, I impersonated a detective." She's like, "What?" It's like, "Yes, I talked to the three fan ladies and I impersonated a detective. I know it was wrong, but you know, so I want to turn myself in." She's just like,
Bruh.
"I thought this was about the murder. Like you're the only closest. You're my closest suspect. Like what the hell?" Which again, I'm annoyed. Like, why do you even think she's number one suspect? Come on, just give her the benefit of the doubt. It's fine. Um, but that whole thing though led to them like kind of comparing notes and all that. Um, and what was it that like pieced it together? I know.
It
Hmm.
was Molly.
No, I was trying to remember like what led to her like being like, oh, we have to go to his house or something like that. That I can't remember.
Well, I mean, they had to go eventually
Why?
to find out more about what was going on
Mm.
because they thought that he was going to announce a new book.
Mm-hmm.
Um and so they went to his house to kind of try to figure out like what was going on. Um and then it turns out that um so when Molly was at his house like when she was little, um she always heard the typewriter.
Yes.
She always heard keyboards
Yes.
going at it.
Wait. I remember now. There was okay. So there were other suspects around. One of them being the doorman at some point because he sold a book
Oh yeah.
to a pawn
Oh
shop,
yeah,
and
and then Molly accused him.
Molly accused him, but he was just like, no, no, no. It's like I first of all I pawned it off because now that he's dead, it's gonna sell for a lot of money. So like, and I'm kind of shorthand here. And then the other one was the author's agent. She just straight up disappeared after the murder. No one can find her, and it was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, why? Why would you even leave? Like, why would you just hide and all that? Which is weird. That I think it was her realizing who that person might have been, who the agent might have been, led her to want to go to the house. Which you were saying. You want to finish? Or?
Oh yes. So yeah, when Molly was little, she heard the typewriter going at it every day at all times. But she didn't know who it was. At the time I think it was his assistant. And she kind of was like, okay, so like the time that I talked to the author when I like bumped into him, he said he was full on writer's block. Because Molly had given him an idea and he like thanked her the next day and he was like, oh, like I came up with this, but that was all that he had.
Mm-hmm.
And so in her head she was like, how, like then why was the typewriter going at all times?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you had a writer's block. So the assistant that was in art, like in current time, was the daughter of the assistant back then, who is the one that wrote the books.
Yes, someone else has been writing it. He would make, I guess you could say, the blueprints of it, just kind of gibberish, but it was the assistant though who would like just get that and make some kind of book out of it, and she never got the credit. So now,
and she never got the credit.
So when they went to the house, I think she saw like a picture of the current assistant when she was a little girl. She's like, you see that? And Detective Stark was like, holy shit, how the fuck did you figure this out? And so now they had a prime suspect as to who the murder could have been. She could have done it to get revenge for her mom because she never got the credit for it. But when they went to go talk to her, she goes, no, I needed him alive. Like it was very much important because she confronted him about it, was gonna threaten him to say like, hey, I'm gonna go to the news and say like, hey, that my mother was the one who wrote these books, and she had evidence, I think. And he goes, okay, hold on, I'll confess that your mother wrote the books, and I will give you all the money that she deserved, but I gotta make the announcement though. If you break that, you get nothing. So she was like, all right, as long as I get something. But he gets murdered. But he dies. So now, even in his death, if she still confesses to the news that her mom was the one that wrote the books, she won't get money. Mm-hmm. So like now she's stuck in the middle. And when I got that information, I thought, did he kill himself? Because like honestly,
he dipped. He said psych.
Because that would have been such like, I mean, it was I mean, it would have been evil, but like that's kind of smart. Fuck, because she was
Sir, he
literally
died. I
no,
mean, he was
no,
old.
I know, but like it was kind of like this like last laugh type of thing, you know, where like he, it's a mystery of the ages. His books are gonna sell, and she's gonna not gonna get any of the credit and all that, you know. Like he could have, if this was his plan, he would have won. But
Again, he's dead.
but again, last laugh. I mean, his wife already passed, so he wasn't like happy. In this current situation, I don't know. Anyway,
Okay.
I don't know. I would have found it interesting
Yeah.
had he like he killed himself because he just wanted to like fuck with the with his assistant, you know. But no, that wasn't it. He was actually murdered. He was actually going to confess and say everything. Um, and I really did have trouble with this in the audiobook for sure, like how she figured this out. But basically, Molly was trying to remember like everything that was there, and she remembered a honey pot that was in the cart, which usually wouldn't have been there, but I think yeah, the author
The
took his
author
tea with
likes
the
honey
honey.
with his tea.
Hmm. And then okay, yeah, this is the reason why it's complicated, because these are like super minute details that only Molly would know. And
Yeah.
apparently she figured it out because there was a clink noise that she heard, but the clink itself wasn't from a spoon that was from the hotel.
I love her.
But it came from like, it wasn't from the hotel, it came from something else or something like that. And so she realized, oh wait, I know where like that would have gone from. And so she goes to one of the, I don't know if they
The
shared a room.
fans.
Yeah, the fans' rooms. But I don't know if they like shared a room or not or something.
No,
No?
because when she went into the room was a hot mess,
Mm-hmm.
and she kind of figured this person had been here for some time,
Mm-hmm.
and it was because it was the one that was writing the biography,
Mm-hmm.
and she had been there because she knew that the author was going to be there, and she was basically harassing him about giving her rights to do the biography or
Yeah.
to release it or whatever, but he wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
And she the fan said something about the honey, right?
Yeah, she knew. I mean, she knew everything about him. She knew he takes his tea with honey and all that. So she's really the only one who would know that. And they got her to confess that when they interrogated her, basically. But they weren't like, you did this. They were like, hey, we just wanted to talk about to the number one fan of this
Yeah.
author and all that. Just to me, I don't know, maybe I missed something, but it felt kind of unnecessary because like they found the murder weapon in her room. Why would you need to confess? Or like, why would you need her to confess?
I mean, I think for it to just stick.
I guess. I don't know. It just felt weird. I don't know. I mean, I did like the moment though where the new maid came in and she's just like, "Hey, you guys want some tea?" And she knew that would lead her to talk about the author
Hmm.
liking.
Oh yeah, because that was that maid's idea.
Yeah, and they were later on. They even praised her for it. It's like, you knew she would confess that, huh? She's like, yeah. So it's like, cool character moment. Awesome.
Yeah, and basically she was putting like antifreeze or something,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why she was also there for a while, because she had done it for a few days. So when he finally took that last drink, he dipped.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was the number super fan of the author who wanted to make his autobiography.
She did it out of spite.
Out of spite, she also did it at the worst moment because
Yeah.
the assistant's mother was about to get credit. But eventually she did, I think.
I think he wrote it down. They got his
Okay.
speech.
Oh yeah, I remember now. Yeah, they got his speech because it was in one of his books. Someone actually did pawn off the books that were like he was gonna present there. Yeah, and it was like one of the ones. It was the person who stole that was one of the maids who always steal other people's tips
Mm-hmm.
and all that.
Who
So
was
that,
also in the first book.
yeah, who was in
Was
the
also
first book.
in the first.
Mhm. So that was cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So my favorite part was the detective telling Molly, "You should really consider being a detective,"
Mhm.
and Molly being like,
No,
"I don't
she's like,
think so."
no, she was like, oh, I don't know, a different career path for me. And she goes, you'll get a badge. You get
Oh
a name.
yeah.
But she's just like,
Yeesh.
okay, you drive a hard bargain here.
I love her.
Oh my gosh, that'd be kind of cool though, too.
Yeah.
But I think it would be better if like she somehow became, like an owner of a hotel of her own or something like that, or a manager of her own. I think I would
I
love
mean,
that.
she is a manager.
She is a manager, but she's like a maid manager. I want her to like be like the manager of a hotel or like own her own hotel.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Also, what I really enjoyed was like she's a manager, but she's so like, even though she notices everything, but she's very like positive. Like she always leaves little gifts for her employees. Like every time they
Hmm.
do something, she's like says it with like a smile. Like I don't know. I
Yeah,
love her.
praises her coworkers and all that when they do something right. And I just love that she set up like so many rules and everything. Like she even probably, I think she even like made like a guidebook or something.
Yeah,
Um,
she's so funny.
mhm. Quick question: who would you fan cast?
Hmm.
I know who I want for Detective Stark, but I gotta look her up real quick. Actually, I don't know if it was because of the like audiobook, but I want. I hope that didn't pick up.
I mean, I would want somebody that's on the spectrum,
That's true. I don't
so I don't
know.
know.
uh, Detective Stark, though, I kind of want uh, Alex Borstein. She was in Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Maisel's manager. I don't know why. I don't know if it was because of the audiobook or what, but like I just imagined her
Yeah,
in that moment in the book. So I think she'd be great. Um, I really don't know who can play Molly, honestly.
just do Mrs. Maisel again.
Miss Maisel. Yeah, I was thinking that too. I was like, as I was looking her up.
Because I also that's what I think of when I'm reading this. Like that time period is what I picture.
Okay, maybe that's why too. That's why I thought of
Hmm.
her. I don't know. Um, but yeah, that's all. That's really all the fan casting I can think of. I mean, I don't know who else. Just really
I don't.
depends on who Molly's going to be. Then I can be like,
Hmm.
um, this can they worked together before or something like that. I
Yeah,
don't know, but yeah. Um, so yeah, they finished. Uh, they solved the murder. There was just one thing though in the end that bothered me, and that was the doorman confessing to Molly that he is actually her grandfather, which I
yeah,
called in the first book. If you
yeah,
remember, I was like, I thought
yeah.
he was
We
gonna,
were like, suspicious.
yeah, I literally was like, are you her
It
grandfather?
just, uh, the reason I'm like iffy about the ending is, it felt very anticlimactic
Mm-hmm.
for me.
Yeah.
Like I know it's supposed to be this whole thing and then it goes down, but it dipped down.
Mm-hmm.
Um and the him confessing to her that she's his grandfather really should have been in the first one, I think.
Yeah,
Cuz
honestly,
I feel like he waited way too long.
waited way too long, and I think it would have been better in at the end of the
Like she
first
was
one.
literally alone. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think it would have been better in the first one because like her whole thing is like, oh, I'm gaining friends of my own. Like she's not alone anymore with like because yeah, she was alone without her grand. She would literally say, "Gran, I'm home," even though she had already been dead.
Mhm.
And then as the investigation was going on, the doorman helped her. He brought in his daughter. She became friends with Manuel and all that. And towards the end, when she gets home at some point with the Olive Garden leftovers, she goes, "I'm home." Like she doesn't say, "Gran, I'm home." She just says,
Yeah.
"I'm home." Like she has company over, and it's just like this is her place now. This isn't just Gran's place
Mm-hmm.
anymore, you know. And so if he would have confessed that at the end, it would have been like, "Oh, I'm really not alone anymore." You know, it would have been more than just like she gained friends. It's like, no, I gained a new family member now. And so I don't know, maybe other people had that theory, and the author was like, you know what, I'm gonna put it in and all that.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing that bothered me though is that so the grand became was from a rich family.
Yeah.
They didn't want her dating the doorman, and when she became pregnant, they sent her off somewhere. I can remember what, and she like ran away from there, and she never went back to her parents, so she was like alone. And the doorman knew that she was back and that she was pregnant, and or I think even had the baby already. But the grand didn't want him in like in their lives,
Yeah.
which I was like, why? uh, I don't know. I just didn't like the doorman's what doorman said.
Yeah.
Basically saying like, oh,
Yeah.
her like I guess you could say like her parents kind of made her think that she
Tainted the relationship and made her think the worst about herself.
yeah
But it's like, but he never really gave you a reason to
yeah he
think otherwise.
mm-hmm. But and also like he seems like a good guy. Why would you not want to
Yeah.
stay with him?
And like he was still in their lives anyways.
Yeah, and I just don't find it fair for him too. Like he
Yeah.
seemed like a genuinely good guy, and he had to like sit in the sidelines. Well, I mean, I don't blame the grand for this, but like their daughter was making bad decisions and like spiraling down out of control, and he just had to wait, like sit in the silence for it. And by the time he does like come into the picture, like they, it's kind of too late for him
Yeah,
to
yeah,
say
yeah.
anything, you know. And so that really really bothered me.
Yeah, it felt very forced to have him not be there.
hmm
Yeah, I get what
Okay.
you mean. And
Um,
that's why I was also like, I don't know about this ending.
yeah.
But like it wasn't bad. It just was like,
hmm
okay. Like I didn't really buy it.
Yeah. To the people who are making this movie, um, have him confessed that
In
at
the
the end
first
in the first one, yes, and make a better excuse. Maybe just say they sent her away. She was gone for a few years, maybe, I don't know. And then by then he was. Oh my gosh! You know what? A great story. You never finished This Is Us, huh? That one had like a really cool story. That kind of happened similarly too. That oh, what's his name? The adopted one. Um,
Mhm.
his mom came from a rich family, and
I did see this though.
you didn't see that. That's like seasons later, though.
Oh, really?
You are not caught up. I told you about like, um,
It wasn't in that first one?
no,
Oh,
we
it's just about the dad, huh?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
but something similar happened to that. Like his mom came from a rich family, but then she decided like not to be a part of it because the dad was like literally going to force her to marry someone and all that, and even though she was in love with someone else. But when the dad did that, her dad did that, she ran away, got into some trouble. By the time she came back home, the man who she was originally in love with had already been married and had
Mhm.
kids. And it wasn't until years and years and years later that they finally got back together after the man's wife had passed away. They were never really like officially together, but like they had each other, and
Mhm.
it was sad, but it
Mhm.
was sweet. And I wish that would have been this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It would have been in this book, but I guess not. You need to catch up with This Is Us, man.
I know, but it's too sad.
No, okay, yo. The only one that I really, really cried on was the second to the last episode. Okay, um,
I'll cry in every episode though.
probably
Anyways.
yes. Anyway, but yeah, that was sort of the ending. He just confesses to her that he is his grandfather, her
Her
grandfather,
grandfather.
her grandfather. My bad. Tells a whole backstory. I can remember the exact thing. Oh, Manuela comes home and she's just like, "Man, I got a story to tell you." Basically, it's like, "Boy, you missed a lot." But yeah, that's the book. It's it's a good mystery. It was really a good mystery, and I just love Molly. I really did.
I love her.
Mm-hmm.
I hope there's more.
I hope so too. I don't know where you can take it from here. Maybe she
I
becomes
know,
a
because it's
detective.
already 2 in 1 hotel. I don't know about staying in that hotel.
I mean, it was 4 years. 4 years had passed. I did mention that since the first book. So who knows? Maybe a murder takes place in her house, or
In
the
her
doorman gets
apartment building.
her
The
apartment.
doorman!
I'm kidding. I don't know. Or maybe Detective Stark gets into trouble, and
And
she has
calls
to,
her.
yeah, do that. Fuck yeah. I don't know. I feel like
Oh, how
more
the
than
tables have turned.
more more than anything, I got a feeling that it's gonna involve her the grandparents,
Mm,
or like
that would be
her
interesting.
her family. Shoot, I don't think
Her
the
side of the
grands.
family. I
Yeah,
think they're dead.
yeah. I was like, wait a minute,
That's
no.
like the great grandparents.
Yeah.
Funny.
Hmm.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. I really like this one. I finished it in like 2-3 days.
Hmm.
So
But
it was a lot of fun. I
hmm,
enjoyed it.
for sure. For next book, we are going to read Dune. Oh wait, I have it right here. Dune. Look at that. Look at that book right there. It's so nice. It's so nice. I am only like 30 pages in, or maybe 50. I don't know. No, yeah, 40 pages. And so far, I am really liking the writing. Like, it. So Peter said, oh, this book doesn't hold your hand. It puts in like a lot of words that you're just not gonna understand, and you really gotta like pay attention or like remember each and everything and all that. But I don't. I should probably mention I saw the first movie, so like some of the things that they're talking about, I understand already. Like, oh yeah, I know
Mhm.
this person was already gonna do this and all that. But either way, though, the writing is like capturing. Like I am like hanging on to every single word of this book so far. So I'm really excited about this. And we're hoping to get this out before the second movie comes out. So
Which I'm so excited
I
about.
know we're gonna see in the loft, by the way.
Yeah.
Because I want to know the hype about 70 millimeter. I don't understand, but okay. But yeah, we're gonna read Dune. Um, there are other channels. I finally did a podcast with Sergio. That'll This one's coming up on Friday. I'm gonna put our podcast on Saturday, the Quest Center one. We talked about God of War Valhalla, Game Awards, some games that came out. Suicide Squad is the biggest topic, or at least like in the news, I guess. And yeah, I'm finally started playing Sea of Stars again. Hoping by Monday, when this video goes up again, I'll be uploading my gameplay. I'm really loving Sea of Stars. There was this moment that I freaked out. I was just like, oh my god, I love this character. Um, Red Spotlight. What did we talk about last? Oh,
Mm,
I talked about Turning Red. I saw it in theaters, so did Alexis, and we were just kicking out over it. It was great. um, but yeah, that's the other channels: Red Spotlight, Quest Center. Uh, yeah. Anything else to add?
no.
Cool. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.